Madam Chair, thank you.
You're welcome. We're ready to go. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here for our July 7th meeting. And I just have a question. Are we going to be doing Zoom meetings? Are we going to be doing Zoom meetings for the balance of the year? Or do you think maybe next month we can meet in person?
Madam Chair and members of the commission, that's kind of a decision being made between Mayor Boland and our city administrator, Steve Cross. And they intend to make a decision to go back to in-person meetings. So the best I can offer you is we'll do Zoom in July today, and hopefully we'll be live with each other in August. I'll let you know as soon as I find out, though.
Okay, thank you. Good. As everyone knows, by reading the notes, we did not have a quorum last time, but we did, we had sort of a meeting where we expressed our thoughts and ideas, and Joe Vunich gave us a complete, Joe and Gary gave us a good update on where we stand with everything. So first of all, since we have a quorum, is there an approval for the May minutes?
Well, Madam Chair, if I may interrupt you, we need to do a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, roll call. There we go.
Commission Member Wilson,
Here.
Commission Member Hudson, Commission Member Stevens,
Here.
Commission Member Lawson,
Here.
Commission Member Ward,
Here.
Commission Member Helfrey, Commission Member Tripp, Council Liaison Garitano, Cruz is here, and Chair Siebert.
Here.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair,
yes.
pardon my interruption again, but there are no meeting minutes to approve. Since there wasn't a quorum, there was really no meeting. We provided the minutes just so the members could know what was discussed and be prepared for tonight's meeting.
I know, but May, we did not approve since there was no quorum to approve. Is that correct? Or did we?
I did not include the May 2021 meeting minutes, so some people may not have read them. So we'll have them in the August packet. How's that?
Okay, all
Thank you.
right. You're welcome. So, first of all, are there any public comments?
Madam Chair, there are no attendees participating in tonight's meeting, and we did not
Okay.
receive any written comments. So we're ready to proceed forward.
Okay. Well, I'd like to bring something up before we get into the discussion of the logistics and scheduling for our celebration in September. Earlier this week, it was brought to my attention from Mr. Garitano that, and this would strictly be up to the commission. They have the final yes or no on this. But we have substituted a 5K race instead of the parade. There are members of the council and the mayor who really would like a parade. So I was asked to bring it up, and a couple things that I mentioned to Mr. Garitano that possibly we could do both. I looked at the schedule and I know it's more work, but hear me out on this, please. The race, according to the schedule, is starting at 9. If we could push that to 8:30 and have a small parade, maybe at 10 o'clock. And I mentioned to Mr. Garitano, I said, well, we have a budget and it's pretty tight. And I mentioned to him, would the mayor want to front the cost for all the carts? And possibly, since the police are there the night before, if people want to come out and decorate the carts, that includes all council people. And if they want to, the mayor would provide pizza. And in the morning, if they want to decorate, he would provide donuts, coffee, all that. It doesn't have to be a huge parade, but evidently the council people really like the idea of the carts and decorating them and riding down Old Manchester. So I agreed to bring it up. And maybe the council people, the commission people can help in that effort. Excuse me. So those are my thoughts. If Mr. Garitano has any more before we get into a discussion, and as a commission, do we want to consider that and possibly vote on that?
A clarification, when you say for the mayor to pay for, do you mean city funds or out of the mayor's personal pocket?
That would be finding city funds somewhere, unless he wanted to donate the cost of the carts. But I mean, since they're going to be used by council people, including the last time we had the carts, the Wildwood Celebration Committee had 2 of them. And there was 1 for each ward, plus 1 for the mayor and 1 for any dignitary, should we invite them. So it's about a dozen carts, I think. I think that's how many we had.
Joe's on now, so I know you were speaking.
I am, yeah.
Morgan.
I joined part way, so I may have missed, how you started it off, and we see Sharon.
Well,
All right, Sharon.
I brought up, Joe, the fact that you brought to me this suggestion from the mayor and council people
Mhm.
that they would like to ride in the carts in a parade. And I
So-
mentioned to you that maybe we could do both if we could push the starting time for the run back a little bit, and the mayor pay for all this extra.
Yeah,
The
well,
extra
I guess
expense.
the first question we need to think about is that, obviously we're going down the path of just doing the race, but logistically, is it feasible to do that? I did catch the part that you were mentioning that the feedback was very positive. The council members really got into it a lot last year with the golf carts. They were decorating it. They were kind of competing with each other as to who had the most decorated golf cart. I know I went shopping days before and got ready. So it was an excitement with the council, and the golf carts, I think, brought the council members closer to the residents along the parade route, because usually historically we would have the cars, but we would be in the cars just waving at people from the middle of the road. So the golf carts gave a chance for council members to really have that direct interaction. So there was a lot of fun with it. So yeah, there was, I guess that was the feedback I got, that, hey, is it possible to entertain that. So maybe that's the first question, because, we have to answer is logistically, are we even able to do that with an event that's basically 2 months away? And then, what else is needed?
Susan?
Yes. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Sue. Well, okay, I think, didn't we nixed the parade, I thought, because we could not get a band. Was, the high school was not available, none of the
Right.
high schools could do this. So would the parade, as we were envisioning now, simply be the carts?
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe, well, we don't have a band, but there's always the possibility of something like, I don't know, boombox or something with music, and maybe just not, maybe just the carts and,
I mean, there's a lot of components to the parade. We had organizations that would sign up to participate in the parade, like Hidden Valley. And, that's a lot of coordination that has to happen behind the scenes. So I'm looking at Joe and Gary. I don't know. You guys are like, yeah, I could see. It's like, if it was a different time and place,
it is.
right? I mean, I would love to get your feedback, because logistically, is that even something we entertain, or should we just
And
stop
we
the
would still
conversation?
we would still have to get permission from Schnucks or wherever things are going to be set up from.
We had moved to the church, I thought, the church parking lot. Was our
We
last,
could.
that was the
Mhm.
last plan that we had. I think Jacqueline has her hand up.
Yes, Jacqueline. Or whoever had their hand up.
We can't hear you, Jacqueline. I don't know if your sound is down.
Not yet. Your microphone turned off?
How about now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm new to the whole 5K run thing, but what I've seen from TV and movies is people normally line the road that they're running on. Is that typically what people do, either at the finish line at the beginning? I don't know how much in the middle, but I'm curious if we would have, if we're doing just the council members, if they just did their, let's say maybe 8:45, did a mini parade right before the 5K would start. Now they wouldn't have to go the whole 5K route. We could do a little like half loop or something like that. But then we could still at least have the council members there. People are already there ready for the race. Just a thought.
I think that's a good thought, and then
It is.
not having to go down the path of having a separate parade. So maybe kind of have council members kick off the race, the walk and run. Maybe maybe they get ahead of it, and we can communicate to the public that come cheer the runners and walkers along maybe certain parts of the route. I don't know where the route is. Is that the Greenway that it's going to take place, or are we talking about public streets that will be closed?
Garitano, we were attempting to hold the whole event on the trail network, basically from town center to community park and back.
So maybe it's
Do you
still,
think that's a good route for these carts?
Carts could certainly be accommodated on the trail system. We just need to make sure if we have such an event that we coordinate between the carts and the runners and walkers so we don't create, let's say, a bottleneck somewhere.
yeah.
Certainly from the department's perspective, we're here to serve the commission. I'd like to have a little time to coordinate with the police department. They are the key component in a successful parade because they manage not only traffic control, but assisting in getting the floats and other participants in the parade where we need them to be and in place on time. And so certainly it's a challenge. This late in the game, but I'd really like to talk to the police department. I don't know if they're ready to comment tonight. But like I say, we're here to serve the commission, and we'll do our best if this is something you want to at least have us look at seriously, and then get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Okay,
Corey's hand is up, Susan. I don't know if you can see everybody.
okay. Corey?
Is the floats part of what the commission, or no, the council wants? They want to ride in the carts, which is fun. Do they also want to do the floats thing and everything except the band, which we can't get?
Yeah. I
Can
think
could we do the carts and have the Jeff the juggler or whatever he is walking, and some other kinds of walking things that wouldn't be logistically so difficult as the floats are?
well, the floats with the volunteer organizations, if I recall, so it's just a matter of if they're available to do it and participate. I know that the coordination is the big work. You know, somebody at the city has to track and keep a list of everyone that's participating, and, you know, planning them where they meet up at the parking lot, and,
Right.
you know, kind of
So-
making sure.
Would we do well then to simplify it and not have that stuff that,
Well,
Make it
think
so
about
difficult.
too, I think people would want to come to a parade, at least to kind of see what we've already had, you know. I don't think they just want to see just the council members. I don't think they want to see me. They can see me the rest of the time. But, you know, there is a lot of nice and really awesome things about the parade. I mean, band is a big part of it. The floats, you know, the guys that are in the little cars, the horses. I mean, there's just a lot of work. So I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. And if Joe wants to think it over and be, you know, he can come back and be like, hey, here's what I think we could do. Or he can come back and be like, look, realistically, we're it's just not
It's too
feasible.
late.
Yeah, but we could still kind of do something, you know. I think that's the thing, is that we you know, we want to have the race. And that's the other thing. Now, people who may have been along the parade route are maybe now running. So we've lost some people because they're waiting to run or walk. So maybe we just have to focus on one thing and make it really good. And maybe Jacqueline suggested that maybe that's sort of a kickoff or something like that, or we coordinate, have some kind of program or something right in front of City Hall before we start the race. Like, this is a big deal, 25 plus 1. I mean, maybe there's like a rededication ceremony in front of City Hall that just says, you know, we rededicating 25 years, you know, a moment in history of Wildwood. You know, well, I want to memorialize it. And we can get West News to cover and write about it. So there are things we could do that maybe meet the same objectives.
I'm a big fan of that, if I can jump in. I think that is a wonderful idea, the rededication ceremony. And, you know, for the 25th anniversary, maybe we get a brick and something is put in City Hall, or, you know, put in the facade out front that commemorates the 25th anniversary. I think that's a wonderful idea. I want to make sure that we have a quality event. And my personal thoughts, I think that we're putting a lot on the city. We are on the 10-yard line of this event, and bands and floats and horses, you know, don't seem like they're feasible at this juncture. City staff told us that we really needed to pick one or the other because they were so limited in their physical resources of the staff being at all these locations to do this. So I think number one, that was one of the reasons we ruled it out. Budget is another concern. And the fact that, you know, what we would be reduced to is council members decorating their golf carts, and that would be it. And I just don't see that as enough to make it happen. I like your idea, and of course, we'll take a vote on it, but I think it's a great idea to start off at City Hall with some rededication with the mayor and commemorate our 25th anniversary, and then let the 5K run begin from there. And of course, have all council present, as a part of that.
Yeah,
Just
maybe we could get a nice plaque that, recognizes the date, that we recognize 25 years. I'm a big fan of time capsules, and I know we have one already at City Hall, but, I think we got to put some more for the generations after, because, right, I don't know when we plan to open the one that was there, I think when the City Hall got built. So maybe we're waiting 100 years, but, let's put one for the folks that are, another 100 years from today or something like that. So they find it. So we can ask residents to bring things, and that could be part of the rededication or something like that, recognizing, our anniversary. I think we have an opportunity to make history, and we just don't ever do enough of it. Like, we should get lots of pictures and remember this moment, because, 100 years, they'll be looking back to see what we did.
Does anyone else have any comments or suggestions regarding this? Corey?
I'm kind of confused. What I heard was we had been asked to make a decision about the parade or the run, and we opted for the run. But it sounds like council members enjoyed the parade. It sounds like everyone enjoys the golf carts. And so I'm kind of confused at this moment, because it seems to me that time capsule is separate and wonderful, separate from the parade and the run, and should be done, but it's not hooked to either of those, is it?
It
That
shouldn't
could
be,
part-
no.
Well, it could be part of the ceremony. Maybe it's buried, as part of this, and we have the whole ready, and maybe we put it in front of bury it outside or something like that.
So
you know.
do that and then kick off the run from there?
Yeah, so you kind of get a little
Yeah.
ceremony kicking off
Okay.
in front of City Hall, and
Mhm.
we can have a couple people say things like that while the runners are all there getting ready and
Mhm.
stretching, and the walkers with their families. So
Okay, so my
that's,
point of confusion is, I love the image that you're building here. Are the carts in this image?
I'm a little
There's the
biased. I
parade.
love the carts.
Uh-huh.
I use the carts even after the parade. I chauffeur people from the parking lots, so I would love the carts. But that's up to the discussion.
Are the carts adequate instead of having a parade with all of the complications? Is having the carts decorated enough? Or do we need to add to the carts in
Well,
order to make it a parade? Do we need to add ponies or
No,
walking Jeff or
no.
stilt guy, whatever he's called? Or any kinds of other things like that?
I think at this juncture, you try to pull that off. We just don't have the resources. We just don't have what it takes.
Okay,
I don't think it's going to come off as
Okay.
as a great component or
I'm
element.
good with that. I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
Well-
Just trying to jump into
And-
somebody's ideas about.
I personally, I think that having additional individuals participate other than the carts, that is huge to put on. Joe Vunich and Gary and the crew at City Hall at this stage of the game. I think if we wanted the carts with the council people, I thought, okay.
Okay, so what would the
And
cart, the
I
carts,
think,
Susan, with the carts, are you envisioning them just being in front of the city hall and maybe helping people? What would they do? I mean, would they be transportation for picking up other people or
No,
just?
well,
I think
They
the carts
could
are kind
be.
of leading the race. They're leading
Right.
the race. It'd be nice if we had, maybe that's part of the communication is we encourage residents to come out and support the runners and walkers, come along maybe certain parts of the route where we have space because, parts of the trail are narrow. But if there's certain places, or maybe it's right by City Hall, and then, maybe the carts are leading the pack, that's one option. I think Jacqueline was the one that mentioned it, and I kind of like the idea. I mean, we can have horns and kind of like get people going. And Gary's got his hand up. He might have an idea.
Gary?
Yes, ma'am. I kind of agree with Joe. Can we take some time to kind of reorganize this? Because what we're not thinking about is the race doesn't start. The race starts on the trail system up in front of the time. It finishes in front of City Hall, and in front of City Hall there'll be a big arch set up there. And the purpose of the 5K was to bring people to Down Center. And then as far as running the golf carts on the trail, which is all well and fine, because we can certainly try and work that out.
Yeah.
But we're going to have police with the runners.
Right.
And we're also going to have to remove bollards for the golf carts to get through, which we wouldn't have to do with just the 5K. And then there's always the case where we keep talking about the carts, but you keep in mind that we reserve those carts a year in advance. And the way things are shaping up for this fall, I'm going to have to check and see if we can even get the carts, if they're going to be available.
Well, then why
So
don't
there's
you
lots of
think
factors
about
that we
it?
got to solve.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy for us to try to plan it out in detail right now. I think the idea has been thrown out. You and Joe think about it, see if you guys get creative all the time. And if it is, and then I won't be surprised if you come back at the next meeting, you're like, hey, we looked at this. It's just not feasible to do it. But yeah, I would say let's not kill any more time here on that. Yeah, and I had
Okay.
assumed that the race started at City Hall, so that's why I got mixed up.
No, it starts at 9 on the trail. And it ends at City Hall. So,
Chair,
but
if it ends at
yes.
City Hall, we could start it at City Hall and end it on the trail. So there's a way to address that if we need to. I think there's a way.
I think ending at City Hall really is the place to end it. And that gets everybody into Town Center. And because not everybody is going to run in this, but it gets the people into Town Center for the balance of all the activities versus having it end on a trail and then coming back. People are, I don't know, they might be tired, whatever. And the thought of going back into Town Center is not amenable to them. So I think ending it in Town Center is a much better idea, is a good plan. It's a solid plan. And, I think at this point, Joe and Gary and anyone else involved needs to get back to us for our August meeting and let us know. Is it feasible? It may not be. And the other thing too is, who knows? They may not be able to get the cards. I mean, we need at least a dozen of them. So I put the idea out there as I was asked to do, which is fine. That's what this commission is about. So how about we start back on our agenda?
Yeah, we could do that. I
Okay.
think we discussed it enough. And if the
Yeah.
carts don't work, you can get me a horse. I'll ride the horse there. I think we should have the council members all on horses. Right?
There you go.
They may not like it when they find that. I might have suggested that.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is scheduling and logistics. It's number 4.
Madam
And then we're
Chair,
gonna, okay, go ahead.
well, we have a guest on the screen tonight. I'd like to get to Ms. Huber as soon as possible.
Okay,
And again, Ms. Huber is the publisher emeritus with West News Magazine. They have made an offer to the city to comp half of the cost for an 8-page spread in the edition of the West News Magazine that would come out approximately 2 weeks in advance of the September 25th date of Celebrate Wildwood. She provided some background information that was attached to the memorandum that the department prepared. And with your permission, Madam Chair, I'd like to turn it over to Sharon.
okay, very good. Hi, Sharon.
I thank you guys for letting me participate with your meeting here. It looks like you guys have a lot of plans going on and will be an exciting day. It is exciting for the city of Wildwood. I'm a resident, by the way, and I've been out
Good.
since 1990. So anyway, I had proposed a center spread section. I'm hoping all of you signed up and get my paper when it comes out twice a month. But the idea is for us to build a section in the middle of the paper. The city will provide a full page ad, or we will work together with the city to build a full page ad to be the cover of the section. The middle of my center spread is where we would put the schedule of events, what's happening, that day. Additional stories that I believe that I put in the proposal. Kate and I talked about it. Of course, there's going to be an interview with Joe Vunich because he's been around since way before the city.
Right.
That he has some great input on the city then and now. In addition, the history and growth of the town center, that's been huge during the time frame of the 25 years. Look at the city's parks, recreation options that have happened. And then, of course, lots of photos, past and present, fun facts. Those things we'll build on as we add pages. And we're going to add pages. My sales staff will be out in the community selling ads to businesses within the region. There's businesses that want to participate just because it's a Wildwood. But anyway, it'll be on them to go sell advertising to support pages. So for me to tell you it's going to be 4 pages, 8 pages, 12 pages, I can't. I don't know. I know for sure it'll be 4 pages because I think I've already got that covered. So, but we have to grow in increments of 8 for it to be a pullout, if that makes sense to you.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's what we'll work on. I'm pretty confident that we can come up with 8. I can't promise it, but I'm pretty sure that in the past we've been pretty successful at that. We have a lot of support in Wildwood, in businesses in Wildwood. And that would be, again, on my sales staff. So what I'm basically charging you is a full page ad in my paper, just as a normal rate, is $2,000. So the additional $2,000 for the $4,000 rate is cost of the center spread, my riders, all of that. That's how I came up with the $4,000. I'm looking for a $2,000 in kind as a sponsor, for the newspaper to be a sponsor. I think I don't remember what you call that sponsor. You have a level though. It's called your, it's your $2,000 sponsorship. So that would be traded back to me. So I'm only looking for a cash investment of $2,000 and to be your $2,000 sponsor. That's in your proposals. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So then the other thing is listening to you guys talk about the parade, the run, those kinds of things. You're going to need people to sign up before the event. So whoever is putting those things together, I don't know if it's going to be Bree or whoever, Joe, I'm sure can coordinate this. Get me the information. I'll put it in the paper that you're doing signups for the run. If you go with the parade and you want me to get that out to the public, that they have to sign up to be a participant, then I can surely do that for you as well. So just keep me in the loop as things progress, and we're more than happy to add it to, the additions that precede the section. The section I have planned for our September 8 edition. assuming you
It-
guys approve it. Any questions?
I think it's excellent. Excellent idea.
Thank you.
Corey?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay. I heard you say something about selling advertising in increments of 8. Somebody was going to sell that.
So, okay, no, I was trying to explain that for it to be a pullout. In
Uh-huh.
other words, if you in my paper, what my ideal situation would be for us to end up with an 8-page or a 12-page, an increment of 4, so that I can overrun that section, pull it out of the paper. I didn't mention this. I'm sorry. Should have been a little more clear. So that we can overrun that section. I'll take the cost of that, and then we can drop those, just that section, just the Wildwood celebration section, at City Hall can hand it out. I'm sure Jeannie at 3 French Hens would gladly stack it in her store. High traffic areas in Wildwood. So I'll overrun it, by, I don't know, a few hundred copies at least. So that'd be another way of getting that information out to maybe people that don't get the paper. Maybe people visit Wildwood that don't get it at home. But it's also it would also be a commemorative thing for the city to have as just to commemorate the 25+1 celebration.
So I have a specific reason in particular for asking, because I own a business in Chesterfield.
Yes.
And I'm wondering how much would it cost me with that business to advertise in your pullout?
Would be the same rate as we would give anybody else. We would charge the same rate.
Are you dividing it into equal slots, or it's because I'm not paying $2,000 for a page?
No, that's a full page. No, it's smaller. Yeah, we have smaller ads. Absolutely.
Okay, so it would just be a smaller ad, whatever. And you're not restricting the size there. The size varies all over depending upon what you want to pay.
Exactly. There's we call
All right.
1/8 page, quarter page, half page. Yes.
I've advertised with you in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is the Wildwood Business Association, and I can't imagine they wouldn't do it again. We normally approach them they like to do a logo page for, like, it would be Wildwood Business Association supports, Wildwood. And then we just sell them logos. So it's a full page of, they're like $75 or $50 per logo. So it just depends.
Okay.
It have to be, I don't know if you're a Wildwood Business Association, but that they normally like us to do that kind of a thing, because some of those businesses are just little bitty, insurance guys and stuff, that they can't afford a bigger ad. So
I can't either.
yeah. So I'll talk to you. We'll
Okay.
talk. But
All right.
anyway, there are 1/8 of the pages, so we would sell in different sizes. My staff, though, would be given the one opportunity and the responsibility to sell the ads to add the page count.
Got it. Mhm.
So the more pages, the more stories that we do. And so what I've given you is kind of an example.
Okay.
Certainly the schedule will be there. This interview with Joe would be there. It's all the additional stuff that I said, but then in all the other little things that were ideas. We'll just have to play that by ear. And I'm more than happy to stay in touch with you guys as we move along. So you kind of know where we're at.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And let me know you send me an email and we'll get together.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
No, I also think it's a great idea, and thank you, Sharon, for
Mhm.
Oh, you're welcome.
spearheading that.
I'm happy to do this. I'm, like I said, a very proud resident of Wildwood. So happy to do it.
Good. I think most of us are too. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the department will respectfully request a motion, a second, and a voice vote to proceed forward with the offer from West News Magazine.
Okay.
I so
Is
moved.
there a second? Okay.
Well,
Is
make
there
a
a
motion.
second?
I
Okay.
move that we move forward with that, with the offer from the West Magazine.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion's carried. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Guys, and I know, Gary, I'll be working with you and Joe, I'm assuming, and Bree. Yeah, we'll get together and get things more laid out than as we move along. But I really appreciate the time and everything you guys are doing.
Well, we thank you too. All right, so next on our list, I think on the agenda,
I'm gonna go.
bye.
Bye. I'll send you an email, Joan, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, scheduling and logistics, Joe, Gary?
Well, I'm going to call on Gary for a couple of things, but just to advise you, we provided the table that you typically see at most of our meetings with the different components of the event and then the status of those subcomponents associated with them. I believe, though, we may have made a printing error, and since it was provided two-sided and it was scanned at one side, I'm going to spend just a little bit more time going over it. In terms of the general items, the only thing that's not been started is the volunteer sign-up. And we typically wait till around school, when school starts. That's where we get a lot of our volunteers, as you know, particularly for the art festival, which is now a component of this year's event. But don't fear, we have everything set up and ready to go. It's just, we'll probably launch it sometime around the beginning of August as the kids start thinking about school again. In terms of the run walk, we did have a good conversation about that along with the parade. And I actually believe there's a way to make something work that kind of addresses both components. Having the council be involved in a pretty significant way with the run, and then having them kind of be the liaisons or leaders to get those people back over to the fairgrounds and participate in the event thereafter. In terms of the food and drink, I know that was a question that was raised. At this stage, we have 9 food vendors, and one of those vendors we're really pretty happy to have, and that's the St. Louis Barbecue Society. They participated in past Celebrate Wildwood events, but they bring a whole lot of different items for different people. Obviously, it's all barbecue related, but they can cover the gambit, and it's just a big operation, and I think it'll be a real plus. And then the second one that came along was Union Baptist Church. So we'll have fried catfish, which always is very popular with a lot of folks, and we always welcome our residents from the Westland Acres area and beyond. In terms of just some of the concert items.
Oh, before you go on from food, just
Sure.
when I look at the list of kind of sweet treats or dessert related things, I don't think we have a lot there. You know, Kona Ice, snow cones, that's going to be pretty much kid related and kind of a standard fare. And then I do see Lily's Cafe with smoothies and ice cream and the Nutty Sisters. But I'm just wondering, in terms of the food, I wonder if we've given any more consideration to invite any more vendors that will have, you know, cakes, candies, something like that. And then also, you know, regarding the food, I think we've got, you know, a pretty good start, but I just wondered if we've just sort of stopped at that point and said we have enough, or if we wanted to look at, you know, I know Noto's Pizzas isn't in because they did it previously, but, you know, pizza is very popular. I'm just wondering, I want to throw out to the group, do we think we're a little light on food? And then setting the food thing aside before we move on to other topics as well, regarding the drinks. The fastest growing drink market in the last several years has been hard seltzers. And I see we have beer and I see that we have wine from an alcohol perspective and some craft beer. And then this small batch winery, which I would imagine it's kind of locally grown grapes or something like that. Not most wines that we're typically used to getting in Deerbrook's, but I wondered if we've given any thought, or if there's even a vendor out there that does hard seltzers such as Truly's or White Claws. This has become predominantly the drink of choice for many, particularly during the day and a hot event. And so I want to see if any consideration can be given to find some sort of vendor that would be interested in providing alternative drinks. I think when you go to any sort of concert event, whether it be at Chesterfield Amphitheater or any of the other public venues like that, the biggest lines are in those for those types of drinks. So I'm just wondering if we really finished out that area.
We have not. We talked back at the June meeting about reaching out to more of our local restaurants, which, as you can see, many are not participating or absent from the list at this time. One of the things we can do, Ms. Stevens, is contact Pond Athletic Association. Their beer is provided by Anheuser-Busch or InBev, AB InBev. And obviously, they make seltzers as well. So I'll investigate with Mr. Kramer, who represents the Pond Athletic Association, and see if they can add seltzer to their menu of beers and different things.
Thank you.
And hopefully that, because if we can, certainly if it's a popular drink, then the money goes toward the Pond Athletic Association, which is always a positive.
And one comment I wanted to make about Small Batch Winery. They are one of the most popular in past celebrations. So
What makes
they had some of the longest lines.
and is that and why is that? Is that because the only other choice was beer? So by default, the line.
Well,
was-
no. What's her name? With they just moved in town center. Milk and Honey. They had beer and they had wine, but Small Batch, people have come to expect them at our celebration. They're very popular.
Which is
People
fine. I'm
like
not,
their
yeah.
wine. So
I'm
I'm
not-
glad
oh,
that
yeah.
they're participating.
Sure, no, not discounting that at all. No question about that. I'm just identifying that the hard seltzer market is growing much more expeditiously than wine or traditional beer sales. And we'd be remiss to not have that offering there.
If we can, yes, if Joe can check with Pond Athletic, that would be a good source.
And as you know, members of the commission, I'm going to let Gary speak. He has his hand up. Thank you.
If the commission could take this in the commission, we have reached out to Just Desserts for more of the cakes and stuff like that. They're usually pretty good. And since this is a one-day event, I think they'll be all in because they usually come for one day or the other at our 2-day events. Also, Benedetto's hasn't made any commitment, but typically they do at the last minute, and they always set up a booth outside and they sell more of the hard liquor type stuff along with beer and stuff like that. And then Milk and Honey, they're one of those last minute organizations too, and they usually show up with their craft beers along with their wines. Right. So ultimately, we end up with a pretty good selection of alcoholic beverages.
Okay, good.
And any more opportunities on food vendors outside of local restaurateurs, more, food truck related, or those who are kind of used to having.
If I can say so, Joe, keep in mind when we're scheduling all the food vendors and stuff like that, we try not to get too many food vendors, and we try not to duplicate the services, because then it doesn't make it worthwhile for the vendors that we do get to show up, and then following year we don't get anybody because it's not worth their while to show up. So we kind of try to keep it pretty tight so everybody benefits, as opposed to one person not benefiting because they go to another booth because they're selling the same stuff.
Wasn't the traffic numbers that we discussed around 10,000 is hopeful to come through that day?
Well, I think on the 2-day event, we've forecasted up to 10,000, but I'm not sure what we'll get on a 1-day event right now. That sounds kind of high for a 1-day event, but it's a lot of people.
Right. So I just wonder if these 9 vendors are enough for that many people post-COVID, right? People are coming out, haven't been out before. It is a 1-day event, a long day. And I just want to make sure we have a lot of choices in variety and enough quantity for all. And that people leave events thinking about three things: what they drank, what they ate, and the entertainment. And I think we've hit it out of the park with the entertainment. I think we're going to be great there. But food and drink, and ample of it, are very important. And if
I've
we
never, through the years attending all these, I've never heard of people not getting enough food. And you can only stretch $1 so far. And I think by offering the choices that we have, and it looks like most things are covered, I think it's good. This is similar to what we've had in the past, and it's always been good.
when you say stretch $1, whose dollar are you referring to?
Well, the person buying, I mean, you have your vendors who are looking to make X amount of dollars. And if you offer too wide a range, then that takes their profits lower. That's what I mean. So by having fewer vendors, but having a good variety,
Yeah.
I think it would work.
Well, the
wait.
only thing to keep in mind is I believe 2 years ago when we did this, a lot of the vendors ran out of food. In fact, there was only one vendor by the end of the night who still had any food. And that was the guy who does like the cheesesteaks, I think.
And
No, that was
would
gone too. All I got was a salad.
That's it.
That would
that
be-
was
I
a
was
big
a vendor.
complaint.
All I got was
Yeah.
the microgreen
That,
salad.
that,
You know,
that
good,
was,
but
that would be
wasn't
embarrassing,
enough after
highly
lunch.
embarrassing on the 25th celebration.
yeah, no, I get Susan's point, but either the vendors didn't have enough to stock up because they were running out of food. I remember some running over to Deerberg's to get stuff. And so
But
that
that
was an issue. That was.
But that was a 2-day event. This is one day. And a majority of the people come out more in the later afternoon. They have dinner and stay for the fireworks. That's their main.
Yeah.
We can ask them and we can talk to them. But Jacqueline, what was your question?
I was just gonna
Or
say, I
comment.
was a vendor in 2019 and there was nothing. I know a lot of the food vendors left because they ran out of food.
Yeah.
So all I
Okay.
got was the salad. There was a lot of people, I guess my age, that were going there to drink and eat, and there was no food left. Everyone
Okay.
everyone was gone.
All right.
I had not the experience of being young and going there to eat. I was just starved and I didn't get any food. And I was not happy. And I don't want for 1,000 people potentially to be as unhappy as I was that day when there was no food. I stood in line to get pizza or something and they ran out. And then I went to the next line over and they ran out just before I got there. And then I wandered around being all grumpy and went over to Benedetto's and they supplied me with some stuff. But let's not do that.
Okay, so then we can, Joe Vunich, can you check into, you and Gary, I should say, can you check into other vendors, maybe a pizza vendor?
Yeah, we have several other vendors that we can contact. We have contacted a couple of our pizza vendors and they opened up, they're not in the trailer business anymore. They've opened up regular stores. But we do have a couple of vendors like the cheesesteak guy. I'm pretty sure he's still available. We have a taco guy that we can ask to come out. So we have some
Okay.
options and we'll work on that.
Okay, all right.
Could we get some foods like Jamaican food or Turkish food or Egyptian food or anything that would be outside of expectations for food?
I have a friend that owns an Indian food truck.
That would be, I think that'd be
Oh,
like really.
okay.
I just sent her a text.
Thank you.
Asian is always popular also. Asian food.
Like Korean kebabs or something.
Well, we do have kebabs on there. I noticed that. the shish kebab guy seems to have a great, he stuck out to me because that seemed unique and different and wide variety. I'm grateful for the barbecue because it sounded like we needed an additional vendor, but outside of fish sandwiches, kebabs and barbecue, that's all you have as a main course. Everything else is just sort of, side choices. And again, I think we could really use a lot more sweet treats. We're really lacking in that area. That stands out to me significantly. People want cakes and pies and candy, and we have snow cones and smoothies and ice cream,
Have we ever reached out or contacted Nothing Bundt Cakes?
Yes, we have.
Will they not
Well, they
participate?
haven't responded yet. We've reached out to Just Desserts and Nothing But Cakes, and one of them will respond. They're usually pretty good about it.
Mhm.
They've been at our past celebrations, right, Gary?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but I want to sound the alarm to say that, I know me personally, every weekend I'm booked with something going on, right? Summer sort of planned itself. I've got to think that we're going to struggle to find more vendors at this particular juncture. And then particularly as September, as fall approaches, it's a very popular time of year. So I guess I'll ask, I hope that we have significant progress to report by the August meeting. Look, the events in September, when we talk about we're on the 10-yard line of the event,
Well, we've had the sign-up sheets out there and we have sent letters to the vendors, Karen. I mean, you hope they respond.
And
but you
it's still
can't-
This is my first year on the commission, but in my business life, and this is no disrespect to anybody, I'm saying a more proactive approach at this juncture is going to be necessary. It's going to be picking up phones, talking to people and confirming if they're interested, I just think.
Karen, I think this year we were so up and down. I think that we have to keep that variable in
Mhm.
mind, that we weren't sure and we were postponing and we were hesitant. But I think going forward, you're right, we need more food.
I mean, I think we need a lot of decisions made we should be done with planning now. And I don't think we should be changing much. Again, it's my first year on it. So if I'm a newbie and I have unrealistic expectations, so be it. But by August meeting, everything should be finalized. And we're just rolling into September, checking we're not even probably would be meeting in September. It'd be an important meeting. And at that meeting, all we should be doing is reviewing the final plan. So I see this month and we're, as crucial to final definition. I don't think you can come back next month and say, okay, here's what we think maybe we can do with carts and this, I just think we're burdening the city staff so much, and that regardless of COVID or not, at this juncture, we should have a final plan and be rolling with it.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Do you have any more on logistics and scheduling, Joe?
Yes, ma'am. We have Mr. McGowan here from the Boy Scouts and we have
Right?
Officer DeGelder, and I'd like to give them an opportunity to update the commission.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Want me to go first? I'll go first. Okay.
Hi, Ken.
Hi. We've got five units, which means 5 activities, which is I think one more than we had last time I talked. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to do one more push to all the units that didn't sign up. Now that we're getting closer to it and the ambiguities becoming a little more clear, and see if I can get any more to participate. So I'm doing that this weekend, getting that out. But we got 5 with 5 activities. Then we don't have the reenactors. They already, I don't know how they were already booked, but they're booked for a reenactment down at Pilot Knob, which is a very big reenacting event down there. And so they can't join us this year. So we won't have the reenactors. Doesn't mean they're out for the future. they do want to participate if they can, but I know that reenactment down there at Pilot Knob's a pretty big thing. And I'm sure that's why they're down there. I also have a question. In the past, the Scouts have led the Pledge of Allegiance openings. Do you want me to organize that again this time?
I think that would be a great idea. Mhm.
Okay, all righty. We'll do that. then.
Anybody else? Libby, what do you think? Good? You've been
I
on
think
the
that's a great
stage.
idea.
Okay, good. All right,
All righty.
go ahead, Ken.
That's where we are. That's my report.
Okay. You know, I mean, thanks for pushing, but really, it was only back in what, April that we finally decided, March, you know, even that the state opened up. So a lot of this has come together rather quickly. We really have not had the pleasure of time in planning all this, not with COVID. And you know, unfortunately, we got areas because good old Missouri is so far down on the list with vaccinations that there are some big outbreaks. And there is, you know, a potential. God forbid, there's a potential. So I think we have come along a lot further and pretty fast, given the fact that this state was closed, as was the country. I mean, we're still outside of the West County and St. Louis and maybe Kansas City region. I mean, the state is only 39% vaccinated, I think. So anyway, I think, Ken, thanks for the push. And, you know, we're grateful for what you've done. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Joe? Gary?
And if Officer DeGelder has anything to add from the police department, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, I do. We've ran it by the captain of the precinct, and we're going to have 2 static displays. What time they go or what order they go will be determined on the day, but there'll be the special operations unit. They'll bring one of their vehicles out there and their equipment they use. It should be there from an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then switch to the bomb and arson unit, and they'll bring out their equipment, possibly one of their bomb dogs. We're going to request that, and then we'll see what they bring out. And then these are displays where people can get hands on and kind of see what's in there. They don't just get to look with their eyes. They can climb on the stuff and touch it, and nothing's breakable in this, and nothing's dangerous, but they can kind of see some of the stuff that the police use. In
You gotta have like hands-on demos.
they may. I mean, I'm not going to tell them what to do. I'm going to ask.
Well, we might have fireworks covered then.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe they'll have the dog sniff it out and they watch the dog do it. I don't know what they're going to do. We requested that. The captains approved it. This isn't the first time that they've done it, so they know what to bring and set it up, and then we'll switch one out to the other at a halfway point for the 2 static displays. And we'll be there all day with a little tent right next to them. So
Great.
pretty much it right there.
And we'll pray for cooler weather. The dogs will be comfortable.
Yeah, cool weather, no rain.
Right.
Lots of sun.
Hey, Gary, with the bubble bus in progress, does that look like it's happening?
They're booked.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Congratulations. Thank you for that. Thank you for doing that.
All right. Next on the, are we done with the scheduling and logistics? Anything else to add on that front?
No, Madam Chair, unless there's other questions or suggestions, we're always open to both.
Okay. So are there any other items, updates on COVID? We're all good with that? We're open?
we're proceeding forward as there's no such thing as a Delta variant.
Okay. All right. Anything else that we did not talk about?
Madam Chair, again, if Ms. Tripp is able to contact and get a commitment or at least an inquiry from her friend who owns the food truck, certainly like Gary or I know, and we'll be glad to reach out and get them the information they need. So thank you for doing that, Ms. Tripp.
Yeah, of course. I'm chatting with someone else that owns a beverage truck. Is there a fee for them to participate as the vendor?
No, ma'am. We don't charge the food and drink people. Just because we want them to be there, they are a key component, as Ms. Stevens mentioned.
Okay, I'm sending over your email to this vendor right now.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right. So our next meeting then is scheduled for Wednesday, August 4th. And one other question on, are you going to let us know as far as golf carts and whether we can incorporate those into the morning activities by email?
Gary?
I will check on, I'll check on availability tomorrow and see what they have, see what, if we can do it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just have a couple of items.
Mhm,
Under,
of course, go.
Given we lacked a quorum at last month's meeting, I don't know if this is if it's a component that's related to that, but does 5 o'clock still work for all of you, or is this, I mean, are you pressed to get here by 5 o'clock? Because if so, we can certainly move it to 5:30 or 6 p.m.
Question, did you say that virtual attendance was still an option as well?
We'll always keep that on the table, just in the event that people that just want to participate, not necessarily a commission member. So yes, they'll always be available.
Okay. For the August meeting, I have to definitely do virtual, and I'll only be on for 30 minutes. It's my mom's birthday. And so the meeting's very important, and I pushed back our reservation so I could at least attend for at least the first 30 minutes, because this is obviously a real pivotal meeting coming up. But so I will be attending virtually. And
But I just wanted to let, in the event that 5 p.m. is difficult, we could certainly talk about it later. But I just wanted to let you know that certainly from the staff's perspective, we're open and available at the best time for all of you.
I certainly like 5 o'clock for a lot of reasons, but including, you know, out of respect for the staff too. And being able to attend virtually, I'm able to jump right on at 5 o'clock, just sharing an opinion.
Are there any comments to schedule later? 5:30, or is everyone okay with 5 o'clock? If we're
Corey
good
has
with
her hand up. Corey has her hand
Thank
up.
you.
Corey,
Yes, thank you. I like 5 o'clock and I like virtual.
Okay.
okay,
It saves
Right.
gasoline and I can jump in here and, you know, keep track of what's going on in the house.
okay.
I
To
like
check with Ken, because I know, Ken, you're still working. Does this time work for you?
Yeah. I'm still happily to report I'm still working from home. So
Oh, okay, great.
it's working out. Yeah.
The only ones that we would need to check with are Vicky and wait a minute.
Ms. Hudson.
Yes,
Sharon.
and yes, and Sharon Hudson, right. So if we can send an email out, I mean, I'll be glad to do it, or Joe, you could do it and see if it's good, if they're good with it. And if they are, well, then 5 o'clock is it for August.
Well, Madam Chair, the majority of the members of the commission are on the Zoom tonight, and they're all saying yes, so I wouldn't change it regardless if I would offer my opinion now.
Okay,
And to
Good.
clarify, it could still be a hybrid. I mean, you could still, I mean, the commission could be partially on Zoom and in person, correct?
Yes, I shouldn't say we, Julian, Jack Wynn, and Travis Newberry figured out how to basically do a hybrid meeting
Okay.
and allow people to basically hear what's going on in the chambers as well as participate
Okay.
via Zoom. So it's worked out pretty well.
Okay.
The other item, we should have had an election of officers last month. It's that time of year again, around the first part of summer. So again, I don't know if there's an interest, but on the next agenda, I can have the item for the election of officers for the upcoming.
Okay,
Or if you want to wait till after the event, we can do that as well.
I think
think
after the event, and I also,
after the event. Mhm.
aren't some of us all, I mean, aren't our times up?
I think actually the majority of you were reappointed sometime in the spring. I'll send that information out to you so you can see
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So last and not least, but so we'll send you an email long before the next meeting about the golf carts. Our success in terms of trying to get additional food and drink vendors, and then also your terms and the reappointments and things like that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye. See you all either in person or on the screen next